This is part of the How to Get a Job series videos, and this third video is on how to actually apply for the job. If you haven't seen the first two videos on how to write a resume and a cover letter, I'll put links up here in the video, and you can actually click on those and watch those before you watch this video. So to apply for a job, there's three different methods. You can use an online source, you can use network contacts, and you can use recruiters. Today we're going to cover online sources and network contacts. The recruiters I'll save for a third video, or I guess the fourth video, be the one after this. So online, there's typically a variety of different sites to use. There's general sites such as Monster and Indeed. There are specialty sites such as Dice.com, QuantitativeFinanceJobs.com, which are both specialty sites for like quantitative finance and IT. And again, if you're applying for a job in, say, marketing or, I don't know, psychology, somewhere else, you should probably look for other boutique kind of sites that specialize in your field. And then the other two are company websites. So if you know an exact company you want to apply for, it's best to go to their website, apply for the job. And then LinkedIn, I kind of consider a general one, but it has some better features. So the hardest part is actually finding keywords. So when you go on many of these sites, like we'll take a look here at like LinkedIn, for example. There's a spot to put the job title at the top, and this will be the exact same if you look at Monster or you look at like Dice.com or Quantitative Finance, is kind of putting those keywords in. And so one way of doing this is starting off with what you think you're applying for. So I think I'm applying for a data scientist position. Like that's what I want to do. And we'll type it in. You have a city. You hit find. The key, though, to making this successful is actually using like this box, which is typically like on the left side of almost all the websites. And that's narrowing it down so that you can select like a salary range, which you can see here. LinkedIn's actually probably the best one that I've used just to narrow down jobs. And the reason is because when you're looking for a job, you should know about your salary range. And if not, we'll explain how to do this in the next video on working with recruiters, which is a great way to find out basically what you're worth and kind of give you a ballpark. And so when you're doing this, you'll want to go through these websites and take out all the stuff that's not relevant. Like for a data scientist coming out of graduate school, for example, there's no way you should be working for $30,000 or $40,000. And so you should start narrowing these out. Like, all right, I want to make, I think I'm worth, say, like so many thousands of dollars. Put that in as a search item. There's this function over here on the top where it's advanced search. And so if you click that, it'll give you a lot of options, and you can narrow down exactly which phrases to look for, which ones not to look for. The reason this is so important is that it gives you more relevant results. If you're using this website and you search like data scientist, you might pull up a wide variety of jobs that have the word data scientist. And again, data scientist might mean different things in different types of jobs. So whatever keywords you're using might not be the same in every industry. And so if you don't narrow down these searches, what happens is that you'll get all these jobs that aren't relevant, and then it's depressing. You look at like 50, 60 jobs and none of them are relevant, or like you apply to a few of them, but they're not the best jobs. And so again, try to utilize this these search features, and almost every website has it. Another good tip or kind of advice is looking at other people that you want to be like. So go on LinkedIn, find somebody that's doing something that you want to do, and kind of look at the job title they have. The reason I say this is because you might call it a data scientist in one field, but it might be called like a marketing analytics scientist in another field, and it might have another name or other keywords you could use in a different field. So I think the hardest part is actually finding these keywords, and the best way to do this is kind of look at jobs online, look at the keywords they have listed, and then also finding profiles of people in similar positions and trying to see what they have listed in their resume. Another good way is using the LinkedIn groups. So find like a group for your career and then select the person, different people in there, and look to see what they have. So again, that's one method, is using these general sites. Company sites are great, but they're somewhat hard to use sometimes because a lot of big corporations will actually use recruiters to do the hiring instead of actually listing it on their own website. And so I've actually applied for a position in one company at a lower position that I was definitely qualified for, and I wasn't able to get a contact response. And then I used a recruiter for a position that was one step above that, and actually got the call back, the job, and everything. So I had an offer on that one. So we'll talk about recruiters in another video. The second method today we'll talk about is network contacts. So when you start this process of looking for jobs, it's helpful to reach out to your network contacts and ask them, hey, I'm looking for a job. Explain what you're doing. Ask if they have any advice for the job process and see what they say. Sometimes if they know of a job, they'll say, hey, my company's hiring, or I know a guy who's hiring at this other company. Can you give me your resume, for example? So this one's much more difficult, I think, than actually applying online. Every job I've gotten is either through a recruiter, through the company's website, and I've got a lot of feedback through a lot of the online sites like quantitativefinancejobs.com, Dice, Monster, Indeed. So again, make sure everything's filled out when you're filling out these applications. Again, have that custom resume and cover letter put together for that job. You don't necessarily need an independent resume for every job you do, but if you have different types of jobs you're going for, try to get a resume that's custom towards that type of position. And then probably the most important piece here is after you apply for jobs and you do it for 3 months or 6 months and you have no callbacks from anybody, something's wrong. Your resume is either not very good. Cover letters typically aren't that important. But again, I'd focus on the resume, or maybe you're applying for the wrong job. Like maybe you have a master's in applied economics and you're applying for a financial engineering position doing derivative products, but they don't like your resume because maybe you don't have the experience in derivative products, or maybe you don't have a financial engineering degree. Even though you might be qualified, you need to make sure that's listed in the programming skills you have, the courses you've taken, and everything else. So once you've done this for 3 months to 6 months, if you're not getting any results, you need to change something. So apply on different websites, talk to more people, make changes to the resume, make it more customized to that position. And so this part's obviously the most difficult. Now you've built the resume, the cover letter, you actually have to go out and apply. And I would say, as kind of Eli the computer guy, which I'll actually put a link over here in the video for his video, but basically when they list these jobs online, they're looking for the dream candidate. And like he talks about, you have a hiring manager who wants a specific position, and they go to HR, and HR basically states, what do you need? And they say, well, I don't really know, just put something together. And again, HR doesn't know. So the hiring manager starts listing off I'd love to have SAS, I'd love to have Stata, they need credit scorecard modeling experience, and they need marketing analytic experience, and they need time series, and they'll list out all these dream qualifications. So if you don't meet all of these, don't just not apply for it. Apply for these jobs because you're probably going to be one of the most qualified candidates as long as you are a good fit for the position. And so again, watch Eli the computer guy's video. I'm a big fan of his and watch his videos. And I think he has the best advice on how to go through this process of just finding the jobs, applying, and typically they'll hire the most qualified candidate, not necessarily somebody that meets all the qualifications. So this is the first video on online applications and network contacts. And then I'm going to make one more video after this on recruiters, and I'll give you a whole rundown on that. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my video up here if you find them helpful, and leave comments below, and I'll actually answer questions if you have any. Thanks.